This is my studio. Do you like it? You know, if I really wanted to make a lot of money online, I would just point microphones and cameras at you, and that's all I'd do. But I'm not going to sell out like that. All right, I guess. All right, fine. Alrighty, I hate that I have to do this, but apparently I am incapable of and not allowed to upload this video with any of the audio or clear video of this particular content. So I was trying to do a reaction to good voiceover. And so I recorded kind of a reaction, and even though I had broken it up and I talked over pretty much all of it, the studios, multiple studios, I think it was about 30 different studios involved, all flagged every different version of this video. And I tried to cut down even more, change various different levels, change all kinds of stuff. There were even periods when there wasn't their content in the video, in that section of the video, that they still flagged a particular section that didn't have the video playing or didn't have the audio playing. And YouTube was not letting me upload this video with any of it. So there will be a link down below for the video that I watched. I recommend that you go and find that video and watch it basically along with me. It's going to be out of sync, but you should get an idea as to what it is I am reacting to. The information shared in this video is still valid. It just may seem kind of weird without the video that I'm reacting to and the voiceover that I'm reacting to in context. So, but this is kind of all I can do. If I upload the video, in a way that has any of the copyright material, YouTube will basically shadow ban the video and not promote it, not share it at all. It will basically get no traction because if YouTube can't make money off of it, no one will see it. So it's kind of how I have to do this. So sorry, I wish I could do better, but YouTube is really tying my hands on this one. Either way, enjoy. Alrighty, so this one is today's video is going to be different, is going to be very complicated, because I don't know how much of this I'm going to be able to show. But I wanted to show you guys one of my favorite voiceover performances. My cat is acting like a jackass outside. It's fine. I want to show you guys one of my favorite voiceover performances. That is what I consider great voice acting. It's not character work. This is just acting in front of a microphone. This is performance, and this is great. Again, I do not know how much of this I'm going to be able to show. Also, huge spoiler warning. This is the climax end scene of this particular anime. This particular short, I think it's a 45-minute animated film, which is Garden of Words. It's one of my absolute favorites. It has kind of a complicated subject, which some people don't quite understand, but I think it is still very beautiful. It's very well done. It's a topic that's tackled very, very delicately in a very appropriate way. The music is great. The visuals are great. The performances are great. And I've watched both the Japanese version of this film as well as the English dub version. And I think the performances are just as good at both. And I am going to be pausing it throughout because copyright reasons. I can't just play the entire thing. So I don't know when this video is going to be actually up because I'll probably have to post a couple versions and they'll probably get redacted and I'll have to cut out more. We'll see. But I do want to try to showcase as much of the genuinely good performances as possible. So, again, spoiler warning, I encourage you to go watch it. I believe it is on Netflix. It is Garden of Words, or Amazon. You should be able to find it on one of the major platforms. Go watch it, come back here, and then watch this breakdown. But here we go. There's one thing that I'd like to state out of the gate. This is kind of the spoiler part. So the story is actually about a school teacher and one of her students. Now, nothing inappropriate happens between them, but there is this kind of understanding that they are in love on some level. And he is supposed to be like 16 and she's like 25. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't like, or some issues that people have with this particular anime is the age gap. Now, this is, of course, thinking of it from an American's perspective. Now, of course, our age of consent is 18, and this character is below that. However, in Japan, age of consent is 14, so he's technically 2 years older than the actual age of consent in Japan. So it's tricky. It's a complicated topic. Another thing that people have a problem with is because the character is 16 and the voice actor is like 20-something and he sounds 20-something, some people have a problem with the performance. But my perspective on it is that because the character is 2 years older than age of consent, if this was an American story, that means that he would be 20. Rather than 18, because it's 2 years older than age of consent. So the fact that he sounds 20 matches culturally what he would be here in America. So as far as the voice age, and it still fits. It fits on a technical level, on a performance level. And she still sounds like she's in her 20s, in the late 20s, which is fine. So that's one thing that people have kind of had a problem with the dub. And it is a complicated gray area. Should you make the character sound younger, like under the American age of consent, to fit the actual age of the character in the Japanese? Or should you have them appropriately aged for American age of consent? It's a balance. And I think they did the right move here. I think they did the right call here. Again, nothing inappropriate happens between them, so it's not really that big of an issue, but some people think that it walks a fine line. Also, the animation is beautiful. And the Foley, like everything about it is great. Effects, the music, the performance. So one of my favorite studios. They do Rain amazingly well. I have this track, the music, on a loop sometimes. I love the music. It's great. It's beautiful. If I ever do an anime, if I ever do a show that's like anime influence, I want this composer. I absolutely want this composer. Now remember everything. Take everything that I said into consideration when listening to this. So good. Sorry to pause it. I really hate that I have to pause it. But you hear all the cracking. You hear all the high note, brittle inflection from the emotion. When we get emotional, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that cracking. There's less holding back. And that's exactly what this performance is. That's exactly what this actor is giving you. I don't have their name in front of me, but if I remember to, I will have it in the description, but I will also have a link to the film where you can find it and watch it in the description as well. It's a perfect setting. That right there, that I'm gonna watch that again, but that part right there, that quiver, that emotional quiver in his voice is so, I get chills. I have goosebumps right now. I love this performance. It's one of my absolute favorites. You can hear that the actors are crying. You can hear it, especially with her. And it's going to become way more obvious later on, but you can hear their performance. You can 100% hear it. And they're not just voice acting, they're acting. That's why this is so important. Performance is phenomenally important. Yes, your character range is great. Your studio quality, is very important, but so is performance. So is performance, especially for this kind of stuff. Now, it is going to be very rare if you ever get anime work, that you'll ever be given this kind of performance. It is very rare. And it's very rare that they will actually let you go this far, go this hard into it. Because most of the time it's not, I'm not going to say dumbed down, but it is censored in some way. There seems to be this theme that we can't let emotions go too raw and be too real or too intense or dark, because then it's not going to be appropriate for children. And I don't know who thought that. And people in America still think that because if it's ever animated, it's for kids. It's not true. That's not right. That's 100% wrong. Comics did not start out for kids. Comics were for adults. Then they eventually started making more kid-friendly comics. But almost even animation started out for adults. I mean, a lot of animation, a lot of animated cartoon characters started out as war propaganda. So the idea that animation is intended for kids is wrong. And I'm going to back up a little bit because this is just so good. I want the quiver. Screaming. He's also screaming. He is actually screaming. I mean, he's not screaming the loudest he would be for like combat or like death sounds, but he is screaming. He's not just projecting. He's not holding anything back. He is yelling. They had to turn that gain down, which I love. I love that they had to do that. He gave it all. He put it all out there. This is a real performance. And I love that. I'm going to back up a little bit again. There's also ups and downs. There's ups and downs. So good. Genuinely crying. I'm, again, so sorry that I have to pause this, but for legal reasons I have to. Genuinely crying. Genuinely 100% crying. I can hear that her face is wet. I know that's weird. I know it sounds weird, but I can hear that her face is wet with tears. And his was, too, close to the end. They let them go. Now, another thing, and I'm going to rewind past this part, and there's another note that I have. And I think something that this studio that was involved in the dub made an amazing call on this. So when you're dealing with anime, you have two choices. You can try and match a performance as much as possible. I mean, match the lip flaps as much as possible. Or you can try to give the best performance that would fit. Because Japanese and English, we have different syllables, we have different, sentence structure. You're not going to have the same number of lip flaps. You're not going to have the exact same length of time for the basically in a direct translation. But when she is crying, and I'm going to show you again, her performance does not match the lip flaps perfectly. His is way closer, and the majority of this anime is perfect one-to-one lip flaps. The majority of it is great, but this one scene where she is crying, she didn't even bother to match the lip flaps. And they didn't even make her match the flaps. Now, it's possible they could have done a take where it was on beat. It was on right on par. But they just let her feel the emotion. And your emotion is going to take you wherever your emotion is going to take you. If you are really in that, if you're really in those emotions, you just let them take you wherever they take you. You don't put any rules. You don't put any brakes on it. You just let it take you wherever it takes you. And so the lip flap is not perfect, but the performance, the emotion, the delivery is perfect. So I'm going to show you that again. We're going to do that again. See? Did match. Did match there. Did match there either. This is the part. Here it comes. It overlaps a little bit. Again, sorry. It overlaps a little bit. It starts sooner than her mouth opens, and it carries on after her mouth is closed. But you can still hear open sound syllables coming from her, even when the character's mouth is closed. And I think in the original Japanese, she's just screaming originally, which is why the mouth is open initially and just stays open until it goes to the shot of the feet. It's just, oh, she's just screaming. But they let her do a performance. They just let her do a performance that closely fit within the time frame. Now, it's not so far off that most people are even going to notice. I notice it. Maybe you guys didn't even notice it until I, wouldn't have even noticed it until I pointed it out. But that's what they gave. That's the performance they gave. That's what she went with, and it doesn't match lip flaps perfectly, and it kind of it is different from the Japanese, as far as where her actual talking and words are, rather than her just screaming and crying. But it's still great. It's amazing performance. It's one of my absolute favorite voice acting performances of all time. It's not a character voice. It's not a video game. It's not over the top. It's not your usual anime performance. It is acting. And these are not celebrity actors delivering this performance. These are voice actors. And they did a phenomenal job. So again, link to the movie will be in the description. I want you to go watch this whole thing. Technically, you should have watched the whole thing to begin with, before even watching this part, because it's a spoiler. But if you have watched it, I hope you watch it again now with this information, now with this insight. But after watching this anime, I actually knew that I had to step my game up, that I actually had to focus a lot more on performance. And I started writing differently with this kind of performance in mind. And after watching this anime is when I started releasing those dramas, which I want to do some more of those. The short semi-animated storyboards, or the one where it's just me in the vocal booth with some music and sound effects. This is kind of more or less what I was hoping that I could capture, that I could do myself. And so, yeah, that's probably some of the best voice acting to go watch as far as where the bar's at. I'm sure there's other examples. I have a few, but this was just one of the best ones when it comes to drama, when it comes to serious acting, sadness, emotion, drama, and just letting go. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Subscribe if you're new, bell for notifications, and leave down in the comment section below. Like to see me cover any other topics, or want to see me review any other videos or voiceover like this, let me know in the comment section below. And let me know what you think. If you agree or disagree, let me know. That's what the comment section's for. And yeah, it's going to be it. So until next time, peace.